Awesome, you came back for episode 4. I'm really excited about today. I'm heading out to the beach right now to go meet up with my family because it's my grandma's 90th birthday. Happy birthday, Grandma. Actually, it's both my grandma's birthdays today. They share the same birthdays, so happy birthday, Grandma Jean. Happy birthday, Grandma Biddy. On my way out to the coast, I figured I'd go check out the Niagara Falls. Okay, let me rephrase that. Not the Niagara Falls, but Oregon has their own version. Didn't know this till today, but I thought it'd be kind of a fun little, a little pit stop on my way out to the coast. So let's go check out the Oregon version of the falls. Alright, so the road's looking a little bit sketchy right now. I think I'm going to have to turn around and head back because I got 5 more miles and I just don't trust my car in snow like this. And it seems a little crazy to go on this little small tiny road with all this ice and stuff. And while it's melted pretty much everywhere else, it hasn't melted here up in the mountains. So, Niagara Falls, we'll either have to go to New York and see the real one, or it'll have to be another trip and we'll check out these the Oregon Niagara Falls. But damn, this sucks. Turns out there's a back way to get up here to Niagara Falls, and there was absolutely no snow on the road. So, looks like we're back on to go check out Niagara Falls of Oregon. Alright, so this waterfall better be worth it because I just fell on my ass in a ton of mud. And just this little slick spot just fell and just wiped right on out. I got mud on my ass, mud on my hand, mud on my belly. Shit. Thankfully, my camera's okay. As much as I like nature, I do not like getting dirty. So I feel just super gross right now. Right there. That is Niagara Falls, Oregon. I don't know, I haven't been to the real Niagara Falls. And from what I've seen, this isn't quite as impressive, but still, pretty nice looking waterfall if you ask me. So I've officially been to Niagara Falls of Oregon, and now you guys have too. Okay, so I highly don't suggest coming out to the Oregon coast in just shorts and a sweatshirt, but that's kind of what happens when you get mud all over your jeans on your hike earlier in the day. Hoping for a nice sunset, but it's the Oregon coast. The clouds don't seem like they're gonna help me out on that one, but hoping. This week, I wanted to share 3 tips for newbie nature photographers. I myself am pretty new to nature photography, and these are just a couple things that I picked up from reading articles and going out and shooting a couple things myself. So Tip number 1. Gear does not matter. One of the biggest things I see in all these articles about pretty much any kind of photography is different things that will help you, whether ND filters, tripods, shutter releases, flashes, all these things that are gear related to try to help you improve your photography. Now, these pieces of gear can help. They're not wrong with doing that, but you should not go out and shoot these nature scenes or do these and shoot different things because you don't have the gear. And one of my biggest tips for photographers in general is always shoot with the gear you have now. And as you realize that the gear you have isn't quite meeting up to what you're hoping for, then you can start adding in new gear. And don't expect new gear to drastically improve your photography, because you can do quite a bit with the gear you have. You just need to get creative with how you use it. Frankly, like, two of the biggest things that I always see with nature photography is filters and tripods. With filters, you don't need them. Like, yes, they can help. Yes, you can stop down and get longer exposures and do some of these things. But if you don't have a filter, it doesn't mean you can't get a good picture. It means maybe you have to do a little bit more processing in the computer or whatever, but you can still get good pictures without filters. And tripods are not necessary in nature photography unless you're doing one of two things. One, you're shooting long exposure. Or if you're trying to do bracketing or an HDR, which, judging by the fact that these are newbie tips, you're probably not shooting HDR and bracketing. So you really just don't need a tripod. And tripods are really intimidating. Most of the time I don't use a tripod. Or if I use a tripod, I use a GorillaPod, which, hold on just a second. This is a GorillaPod, but it's just a flexible tripod. It's awesome because I use this a lot as a selfie stick for vlogging to get a little bit better angle. But you can just set this on anything and turns just about anything you find into a tripod. It wraps around branches, it sets on rocks and posts, and it's a great tool that is a lot less intimidating than setting up a full tripod in public if you do need a tripod for something. Even then, like I said, you don't need one for most nature photography you're going to go shoot. Tip number 2. Do some research ahead of time. Most of these awesome nature spots that you're going to want to go shoot aren't easily accessible. Very rarely will you have an awesome spot like Niagara Falls here in Oregon that is right off the freeway that anybody can get to. The best of nature is usually kind of hidden away and tucked away because otherwise it isn't really nature. You need to do research on pretty much everything that goes into it. And I learned this the hard way this past weekend because as I was traveling there, I didn't really take into account the roads and how to get there and the fact that it was in the Cascade Mountains and there could be some leftover snow. And I actually had to turn around because it was too dangerous for me to get to the waterfall from where I was. What are these roads? What kind of car are you in? Because some roads can be really, really rough and your car may not be able to go down that road. So do some research on that. But you also want to do research on the actual hike and how to get to this location once you're out of the car, because you've never really done any hiking. You're not going to want to start off with a 7-8 mile hike. You're going to want to start off with something easy, 1 or 2 mile hike. Maybe you want something that's a lot more groomed and the path is really easy and there's steps as opposed to just trying to walk up and down a path. So do some research about the hike itself, about how to get there. And that way you can keep yourself safe, keep your gear safe, not put yourself in any danger, because no picture is worth getting hurt for. Tip number 3. And this is the one tip that is actually about photography. And that is, once you get to the location, don't just stand there, put the camera up at eye level and click away. It's not going to lead to a very interesting picture, or at least not a very unique picture. Almost everybody that has gone to this location has taken that picture. And I do it all the time. I take that picture too. But I rarely ever use that picture because it really isn't that interesting. After you've taken that picture, take a minute to look around and find a unique way to shoot this. Maybe you need to shoot from up above. Maybe you need to shoot from lower. Maybe you need to move to the left or move to the right. add something in front of it, take something away. Just look at it and try to find a unique way to shoot. So when I got to Niagara Falls, obviously I took the normal picture, but then I also set the tripod down, set my little Gorilla Pod down on the thing, and I got my long exposure. And because it was on a Gorilla Pod, it is a little lower, but to me, that shot isn't that unique other than the fact that Niagara Falls of Oregon isn't an overly popular spot to go to, so it's not overly photographed. That said, it's still just a long exposure of Niagara Falls. And I didn't find it that interesting. In fact, I really like this other picture of this leaf still hanging onto the branch with the waterfall in the background. Now you probably can't distinguish that this is any other waterfall, but to me this is a lot more unique of a shot because I can almost guarantee no one else has taken this picture. I mean, the leaf might not even be there anymore. It's a different way to shoot it that's unique. Find different ways to shoot it. That way your pictures can stand out. Because if you just go and shoot the same picture everybody else is, it's not going to be unique. People are just going to whip right past them. If you really want to be a better photographer, you want to take better pictures. And the best way to do that is to take pictures that other people aren't taking. Those are my tips for fellow newbie nature photographers. To recap really quickly, 1, shoot with the gear you have because gear doesn't matter. 2, do research ahead of time so you can keep yourself safe. And 3, don't just go to a location, put the camera to eye level and click. Find a unique perspective to really take your photography to the next level. If you found these tips helpful or interesting and you want more tips like this in the future, hit the subscribe button below. And I will see you next week.